Hello there, Year 1 children. I'm going to read you a story today called Little Red Reading Hood. I wonder why it's called Little Red Reading Hood. I know the story Little Red Riding Hood. This Little Red Reading Hood loves to read books. Maybe that's why. Little Red Riding Hood loved reading books, always curled up inside crannies and nooks. She read in the bathroom, she read on the porch, she read late at night by the light of a torch. Flickering through pages, her little head bowed, dreaming up stories and laughing out loud. That's what happens when you read books, isn't it? Lots of stories and pictures in your head. But one day her mother said, "What are to do? Red, this old library book's long overdue. You must take it back to the library today, but listen, I've something important to say. Don't ever stray from the path in the wood." "Yes, Mum," said Red, and she pulled up her hood. Who she's going to meet on the way. As Red skipped along, it was lovely and sunny, but suddenly Red felt a little bit funny. A wolf jumped in front of her. Gruffly he said, "Where are you taking that book, Little Red?" "The library," she answered. "To hand it back in?" "Oh," said the wolf, and he started to grin. The wolf licked his lips, and he had a good hunch that Little Red Riding Hood might do for lunch. He thought, "She looks tasty, a flavoursome treat, and maybe I'll read a book after I eat." The wolf had a plan, so he said with a smile, "Why don't you just stay here and read for a while?" I think she should. Red was quite tempted. Her book was so good. She strayed from the path and she sat in the wood. "10 minutes," she said, as she started to read, and off ran the wolf at a lightning fast speed. Now, books have all sorts of strange magical powers, and that afternoon Red was reading for hours. Meanwhile, at the library, what a barbarian! Wolf had just tied up Mrs Jones, the librarian. He put on her glasses, her colourful smock. He said to himself, "Red is in for a shock." A few moments later, Red opened the door. "Come in," said the wolf, with a wave of his paw. Little Red Riding Hood put her book down and looked at the wolf with a bit of a frown. "Are you quite well, Mrs Jones?" she inquired. "You look a bit different today. Are you tired?" Red gasped, "What big eyes!" And then Wolf, with a sneer, said, "Yes, all the better for reading, my dear." Red said, "Your ears are all hairy as well." "And what," asked young Red, "is that terrible smell?" The wolf ripped his smock off and sprang from his seat. "Enough," cried the wolf, "now I'm ready to eat." "You can't eat her up," the librarian blubbered, and with a loud heave she flew out of the cupboard. "That's just an obvious ending," she sighed. "We've heard it before. You at least could have tried. The wolf eats the girl up. Well, that's nothing new." "What?" the wolf puzzled. "But that's what wolves do. Wolves are the bad guys, it says in my book." Little Red Riding Hood gave him a look. The wolf ate her up in one big gulp. Ha ha ha, that's the book. She sat by the wolf and, despite her unease, said, "Stories can end in any way that you please." "You don't like an ending?" Red Riding Hood said. "Then change it, arrange it around in your head. Just switch it and stitch it up some other way." The wolf nodded slowly and whispered, "Okay." A beanstalk grew up from the crack in the floor. "Come on," Snow White shouted, "it's time to explore." Peter Pan noticed the fairy dust settle, "And now you can fly," he told Hansel and Gretel, all mixed up tales. So back in the castle deep under the sea, the mermaid invited the wolf round for tea. Aladdin jumped back and he gave a loud shout as his old fairy godmother tumbled right out. Mixed up fairy tales there. He thought for a moment, "A book of my own?" And this time the wolf went end up alone. He picked up a book about his shoemaking elves, then started to chuckle and search through the shelves. "I found it," he shouted, and danced a few jigs, then borrowed a book about 3 little pigs. Little Red Riding Hood walked through the woods, the moon shining down on her little red hood. She curled up that night with a book in her hands and dreamt of huge dragons and magical lands, for whilst leaving footpaths should never be done, straying from stories can be all sorts of fun. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? When you've read a story and you go to bed dreaming about it, maybe you were in it, maybe it has changed or it ends in a different way. That's why it's called a Red Reading Hood, because reading is such good fun. Hope you're doing lots of reading at home, if you're learning at home, either reading with the teachers who are sending the stories on YouTube or reading using Oxford Owl or Book Club or anything like that. Look forward to hearing from you if you are. Remember, guys, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours and take care. And I'll see you tomorrow.